Hi everybody, I'm Kirsty making from Naio Nails. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a butterfly. Butterfly.
Chicken.
It's not a chicken butterfly. It's going to be a butterfly, and we're going to do it aquarelle style. Now, I'm going to use this gorgeous new colour. This is from the pastel range. This is Lavender Breeze. So it's a gorgeous pale lavender. Really pigmented. I'm going to do 2 coats of this colour. Nice and thin. 2 nice and thin coats. That's going to last longer. So you always need to paint your gel polishes nice and thin. If this was a natural nail, I'd be doing it on the top of the Urban Graffiti base coat. But because I'm working on a tip, I can go straight onto that. I have slightly buffed the tip so it adheres really well. So once that's out of the lamp and it's cured, I am going to top coat it. You better top coating it and then buffing the surface. Yeah, instead of taking off the sticky layer, just apply the top coat and then buff it to do your aquarelle. Let's cure that. So now that's out the lamp, I'm going to buff. And I'm doing this because when we actually do the paint work with the aquarelle technique, it will adhere really well. If you work on a shiny surface, it doesn't work so well. I have got a little tray with a damp sponge in, and that's what I'm going to put my paints on. I'm going to use emerald green. And then we've got magenta. I've got some backing paper from a sculpting form. So we need some water, because what we're going to do is water down these paints. We want a little bit of paint and lots of water. Now you see what it's doing on the backing paper because it's shiny, so it shrinks back. That's what would happen if you did it on a shiny surface on the nail. So you see how it doesn't work so good? And what I'm going to do with the liquid on my brush, I'm going to move it out into a wing shape. And then tickle it to the middle. And you see we've got more paint here. Because we've got more paint towards this part, it'll go a little bit darker. I'm going to do the same again here. So move it round where you want it, pull it in. You see how quick it dries, like this is nearly dry now. I'm going to do the same here, slightly different shaped wing. And as it dries, it gives you like a hard border, so you can see the colour at the edges. They appear to be really strong. Now Did you see how that moved down here? So I've just tipped the finger just so it runs into the centre a little bit more. Don't worry too much about it. You want it to be quite inconsistent, really. You want it to look like a watercolour painting. So push it out into the shape you want, and then tickle it into the middle. And if you have too much liquid on like that, you can dry your brush off and drain off any of the excess, because it'll absorb into the brush. Now we're going to overlap some colours. So I say some colours, we're going to overlap this green. So we're going to mix that, make it really watery, just like we did with the pink. And we're going to overlap. And create like another wing shape, but a different shape overlapping. You want to keep it really soft. You can only do this over dry acrylic paint. So because I'm afraid I don't want to touch this because it's still wet, I'm going to work down here now. So pushing it out into the shape that I want. I love the effect that you get when you overlap the colours. And if you're doing this, you always need to think about the colours that you're actually going to use to overlap. You don't want to create like a muddy effect. So I knew that when I overlap these colours, it'll go slightly purple in places. Gonna do the same here. So I'm just rubbing it round, moving it about. While they're drying, I'm going to use the paints, but I'm not going to water them down as much going to use a slightly finer brush, and we can do some little curves just to add something more to the design. When I do these little curves, I want to have a bulbous end and then a thin tip here. So where you start will be your thickest part, and as you come down it will go thinner. You do that you create that by the pressure of your brush. So when I place the brush down at first, I'm pressing harder. So I'll show you here. So I press, and as I move, I change the angle of my brush, and there's less pressure, and I use the very point. Then for his body, I'm going to use sap green, which is a nice dark green. I didn't want to use black, I wanted to use a colour, so it's a dark green. And you need to dry, please dry. I'm going to add a little bit of water to that polycolour paint, just so it goes on a lot smoother. We're going to do the head of the body. And then we're going to do the length of the body, just like that. And we can't forget the antennae, because if I do, Adam tells me off. I was like,
do them on the other one.
I know I didn't, but it wasn't going to be wearable. This will be wearable. I'm going to water this down a little bit more, so I can get a fine line. Then using that same colour, that green, I'm just going to add a few little random dots where our little lines, our little swirly curved lines are. It'll just add a little bit more detail and interest to the nail. And then with that same green, water it down a little bit. I'm going to add some tiny little dots, really random, different sizes.
So what kind of butterfly is this?
This is like a butterfly that looks like a flower. A flower bye.
A flower bud.
A flower bye.
It's like you might have learned something, you know, when we were looking at butterflies.
I didn't learn anything. I don't do things that exist. I do mythical creatures. Right, so what I'm going to do now is top coat. You want to make sure we're all dry, so when you look at it, you'll see if any of it is shiny. I think I've knocked that dot there. It's not as solid. So if any of the paint's shiny, then it's still wet. So I've just put those two little dots on there, and they are still a little tiny bit shiny. So I need to make sure they're matte. Once everything's matte, we can top coat. that in the lamp. It's so pretty. I don't even think it needs any bling. It's that gorgeous. There you are, guys. It's another cool thing we can do with Aquarelle. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Everything I've used today will be listed below in the description box. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram and all that shebang. And I'll see you guys in the next video. So keep watching. Watch the next one. Bye-bye.